This is the Shock Absorber Netball Academy at intosports.com. In this guide, we're going to take a closer look at the game of netball and cover some of the key things you'll need to know if you're going to be playing or watching the game. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Netball is played on a rectangular court measuring approximately 30 meters by 15 meters. The court is divided into thirds. The middle third is known as the center third, and the two areas at either end are called the goal thirds. In each goal third, you'll find a semicircle known as the circle, containing a post with a ring and a net. In the center third, you'll find a smaller circle known as the center circle. This is where games are started from and then restarted whenever a team scores a goal. The long outer lines of the court are known as the sidelines, and the shorter outer lines are called the goal lines, and the two lines that separate the thirds of the court are known as the transverse lines. Although netball is a fast-paced and dynamic team game, it's also a non-contact sport, although you wouldn't always believe it if you watch international and top-level national matches. If you're going to play netball, then it's important that you know the areas of the court, because no single player on a netball team can move in every area of the court. Each netball team has 7 players on court. Each player position has a specific name: the goalkeeper, the goal defense, the wing defense, the center, the wing attack, the goal attack, and the goal shooter. You can easily spot which position someone is playing from the bib on their kit. The 2 letters correspond to the initials of their position. GK is the goalkeeper, WA is the wing attack, and so on. Let's look at where each player can move on the court. The goalkeeper is only allowed to move in the goal third that she's defending. The goal defense can move in the goal third and the center third. And the wing defense can move in the goal third and a center third, but cannot go into the circle. The center can move in all thirds, but can't go inside either circle. The wing attack can move in the center third and opposition goal third, but not inside the circle. The goal attack can move in the center third and attacking goal circle, and the goal shooter can move only inside the goal third she's attacking. You can find out more about each of the positions in the Essentials section of this academy. A game of netball is made up of 4 quarters, each lasting 15 minutes, with a 3-minute break after the first and third quarters, and a 5-minute break halfway through between quarters 2 and 3. The game is won by the team that scores the most goals, and each team sets up opportunities to score goals by passing the ball down court to the goal shooter or goal attack in the circle. Both these players can score goals, and they have to be standing inside the circle when they shoot. The game is started at the beginning of each pass with a center pass, made by the center from the center circle. Teams alternate the first center pass of each quarter, so if the team playing in white throws the center pass at the beginning of the first quarter, then it'll be the team wearing the black kit that starts the second quarter. If the ball goes out of court, then the game restarts with a throw-in by the opposing team to the player that last touched the ball before it went out of court. Occasionally during a game, the umpire won't be able to decide which player is at fault following a 50-50 situation. When this happens, the game is restarted with a toss-up. Like most sports, netball has lots of rules, but you only need to know a few of the most important ones to get started or follow a game. Games are refereed by 2 umpires that each cover half of the court. The umpire will blow a whistle to start, restart or stop the game when a goal has been scored, and to signal when an infringement is to be penalised. Let's look at rules for passing and receiving the ball first. When a player has the ball in their hands, they have to release a pass or shoot within 3 seconds, and they have to observe the footwork rule as they do. Players can use a range of passes to get the ball to their teammates, and there's 2 key additional rules to remember in relation to passing. Firstly, the short pass rule. This rule states that at the moment the ball is passed, there must be room for a third player to move between the hands of the thrower and those of the receiver, which effectively means that the ball must actually leave one player's hands and fly a distance equivalent to the width of a player before it touches the receiver's hands. There's also a limit on how far you can throw a pass too. You can throw a pass across the full width of the court, but when the ball is passed down court, it must not pass over more than one transverse line. What this really means is that the ball cannot be thrown from one goal third to another. It must be passed to a player in the center third first and then passed on, or at the very least touched by a player in the center third. The footwork rule puts a limit on the movement a player can make once they have the ball in their hands, and it's interpreted differently based on a number of situations. Firstly, if a player receives the ball with one foot grounded, or jumps to catch the ball and lands on one foot, then they can step with the other foot in any direction any number of times, pivoting on the landing foot. They can also lift the landing foot, but they must throw or shoot before the landing foot is regrounded. Alternatively, in this situation, the player can step or jump from the landing foot onto the other foot, and then step or jump again, but must throw the ball or shoot before regrounding either foot. Secondly, if a player receives the ball while both feet are grounded, or jumps to catch and then lands on both feet simultaneously, then they can step with either foot, but whichever foot they pivot from becomes the landing foot. In the same way as before, they can then step or pivot as many times as they wish, but if they lift their landing or pivoting foot, then the ball must be released before the foot is regrounded. Again, as before in this situation, the player can step or jump from the landing foot onto the other foot, and then step or jump again, but must throw the ball or shoot before regrounding either foot. This might all seem a little complicated, but you'll soon get the hang of it. Finally, let's look at the key rule for marking and defending. When a defending player marks a player with the ball, they can stand no nearer than 3 feet or 90 centimeters from the player with the ball. The 3-foot mark is measured as the distance between the passing player's grounded foot and the nearest foot of the defender, or the place where that grounded foot had been if they lifted it. If the player with the ball doesn't move their feet at all, then the 3 feet is measured as the distance between the foot of each player closest to the other. At the 3-foot mark, the defender can defend or attempt to intercept the ball using a range of movements, including jumping. But if they land within 3 feet of that player and they still have possession of the ball, then an obstruction may occur. So that's the basics of netball covered. If you're keen to learn more, why not check out the Essentials section now? Or maybe watch a skills guide to learn a new pass, or maybe how to shoot.